Hello, it's Talking Reds, it's Friday. We're a little bit giddy because we're looking forward to watching the Reds beat the league leaders, Manchester City, at Anfield on Sunday. We're counting down to that now. It is that day where you're like, is work finished yet? Can I go out yet? Can I have a pint yet? But we're not doing any of that because we're recording this and then we're recording podcasts and we're putting out newsletters and we're working hard on the Anfield app. And, you know, we hope you enjoy it. And there's Red stuff to talk about and it's interesting and it's good and we're made up that we do this for a living. Is right for supporting the Anfield rap. Okay, Daniel Sturridge then is the top of the agenda today. Liverpool prepared to listen to offers of £30 million for Daniel to leave Liverpool Football Club in this window. It seems like, reading between the lines, that he has said that he wants regular football. He's a little bit worried that if he doesn't get that, he might not get a place in the World Cup squad this summer. All really fair enough, but what Liverpool have said is they want good money for him, and also that there won't be any form of loan. It seems another one this where Klopp's sort of saying, Klopp's basically being sound with players. You know, he's trying to get himself a reputation, I think, of being fair with players. You know, he's fair with Coutinho, he's fair with Sturridge now, he was fair with Lucas. Lucas was a similar situation where he seemed to quite like having him around and he used him now and again. But when he was offered regular football in Lazio, he was like, go on then, lad, I understand why you want to go. This seems something similar, really.
Yeah, we've talked before about how Jurgen Klopp treats his players, not just as players, but as humans, and he builds this relationship with them, and that won't go unnoticed with potential signings. It won't go unnoticed with other players in the Premier League. Yeah. Players talk to players, you know, this sort of thing. They'll all know, or they'll all sort of get an idea of what Klopp's like as a manager and what he's like as a person. He treats them as a person and not just a player. So from a Liverpool point of view, as a fan, I've said it before, I don't want any risks this transfer window. If they're going to let Sturridge go, that must mean that there's, you know, the potential of someone to come in, because if you look up top though, if Firmino gets injured,
Solanke or Ings, that's what it's going to be.
In the Champions League, if you get the Champions League quarter-final and you've got one of them up top, no thank you. No thank you. I would far rather Daniel Sturridge play.
But the issue is obviously
the World Cup.
Well, it's not just that. No, it's not just that though. I mean, look, I like Daniel Sturridge. I think he's a good finisher and all that sort of stuff. His record for Liverpool is 63 goals in 133 appearances. He obviously had that 2013-14 season where he was on fire and scored 24. But I mean, you know, it's a case in point right now. He hasn't played since December the 6th. And it's been a busy period. There's been games all the time. If he'd have been fit, you would have thought he would have got a game. He hasn't been fit again. And it's this issue that you just can't rely on him. You can't rely on him. And I agree with you that he's got more quality than Solanke and Ings. But if he's simply not able to play him because he's injured again, then that is no use to anyone.
Yeah, although Daniel Sturridge would argue he was available for most of last season and he wasn't given enough chances. He'd argue that he scored a couple in 1 week earlier in the season, but then the next 2 games he didn't get a chance. You know, it's sad. It is sad that over a Christmas period, whenever we did need, you know, at times when Dominic Solanke played up top, you'd imagine that Sturridge would have played rather than him. It is sad that he wasn't there for us to call upon him.
Stylistically, though, he doesn't suit
Klopp,
he
doesn't. No, he doesn't. But I just, you know, I just don't want to get to a stage where, you know, we're fighting on 3 fronts for the Champions League, to get into the Champions League and for an FA Cup, and we're having to play Danny Ings, who's hardly had any proper football over the last 2 seasons. We're having to play Dominic Solanke, who's not scored a goal in proper football in the Premier League.
I mean,
that's where you look at Daniel Sturridge.
Your other option is you can play Salah through the middle, you can play Oxlade-Chamberlain in the front.
But then again, who do you? Well, that's why I think surely if they're going to let a player like Sturridge go out, they have to get an attacking player. Well, it isn't. Maybe it's not a number 9. Maybe it's someone in the wings, because then if you are going to move Salah in, there's that space there. If you're going to move Mane in, because we saw that at times for Southampton, you're going to need another lad there. And especially with Coutinho, we've already lost Coutinho, so you're already talking about Oxlade-Chamberlain being, you know, Oxlade-Chamberlain or Lallana being one of those 3 in the centre mid. I think if we let him go and we let Coutinho go and we don't bring anyone in, it's negligence. It's a risk that we don't need to take.
Well, I mean, there is, of course, still the talk about, which we did on yesterday's video, about Keita coming. That's continued today. That's in the Echo today. That, you know, there's talks. That it's believed between the two clubs. So we'll see what happens there. See what happens with Daniel Sturridge as well. There's no firm, you know, there's no reports of firm interest in him. Just simply that Liverpool will accept 30 million should those offers arrive.
And this has happened. This has happened in it feels like this has happened in every transfer window over the past 2 years with Daniel Sturridge. Last season, I remember it was 20 million. Obviously, 20 millions or 30 million is the new 20 million now, with the way fees have sort of rocketed. But we've had this discussion. We had this discussion this time last year. So it'll be interesting to see how it pans out and whether he actually sticks around for another transfer window.
Well, we'll see. I mean, 30 million is a fair chunk of cash. And also he's on about 150 grand a week, it's believed, at Liverpool as well. So it's quite what clubs around Europe or indeed in England are prepared to take the risk of paying 30 million quid up front and then 150 grand a week for a lad with his injury record, because that is, of course, a consideration. Other news, the FA Cup, the game against West Brom, is going to be the first Saturday night game ever, apparently, in the FA Cup, live on BT. There was some talk about this in the Anfield Wrap office yesterday, and people were talking about, you know, their plans around getting on the aisle for this one.
Always the first thought, isn't it?
You know, how this is going to work out and all that sort of thing, and I get that. I guess if you sat at home as well and thinking about watching it on the telly, that's not a bad one as well. My main gripe with this one is it feels like, yet again, that telly companies have just moved games around willy-nilly and not really thought about fans. The reason to say this is because we are playing West Brom. They are from the Midlands. I would imagine quite a few of them would quite like to have got the train to Liverpool and back home, but because of this, they can't. Basically, the last train back to Birmingham is while the game's still on, or roughly just after it's finished, so they've got no chance of getting back to Lime Street and getting on it. And it just seems sort of little or poor consideration of match-going fans again, but you know, they always seem to be bottom of the food chain with football. It's always, well, what do the telly companies want? What do the club want? You know, they've asked the police and all that sort of thing. The police are sound with it. Why don't you ask the fans? Why don't you look at what the transport arrangements are for lads who are going to lads and girls who are going to come up from the Midlands? You know, and if there isn't going to be trains for them, which appears to be the case, why aren't BT or the clubs or someone, you know, putting on the coaches? Why has it got to fall down to the fans? So I think it's poor that the fans haven't been considered on that one again. There should be some consultation with fan groups as well as police, as well as TV companies, as well as clubs. But yes, again, it just seems like they just go, oh well, they'll get there somehow.
Shouldn't be surprised, should we?
Not really.
You know, this every year it seems like there's a new kick-off time, and it's always a kick-off time that has been one that's not really been thought through from a fan's point of view. One thing I would say is I've done a couple of quarter-day kick-offs on a Saturday night Northern Ireland games, and it's disconcerting. Like, you don't know what time to start drinking. You probably start drinking. You probably start drinking at the same time that you would as a 5:30 kick-off, and then there's big problems. So it'd be really interesting to see what the atmosphere is like that night. Whether a couple of extra hours of drinking helps it any, but. Yeah, it's you'd expect someone at the club to sort of have the foresight now, or even be thinking about it at the minute, about how they can get some fans from outside of the city back home in time.
And you know, we're always thinking about what else can the Anfield app do, how can we diversify. I've just had a little thought there, you know, maybe we could set up a phone line, you know, similar to Talk to Frank, Talk to Craig. So you know, you can ring Craig and have a chat with him about your beer game for a quarter to 8 kick-off. If you're not sure what to do, he will tell you about his experiences with Northern Ireland. I mean, it is the big game this weekend. We're all expecting Liverpool to have a bit of a go at Manchester City. Obviously, there's been lots and lots of talk in recent weeks about teams sort of lying down and going deep and not even trying to sort of have a go at them. Newcastle was one, wasn't it, where, you know, they were called a disgrace and all kinds by the commentators on the telly that night. Liverpool, you do expect to have a go at them. Bristol City in the week was interesting. They had a bit of a go at them, and 1 or 2 scares and only a late goal really from Aguero sort of polishes that result really. So be interesting to see. It feels like a while since the sides really had a go at them. I mean, maybe some people will say Tottenham did and they got battered. But for Liverpool, a game at Anfield, you expect you expect them to go out there with nothing to fear, back the crowd backing them and everything else, and have a real go and get in the faces.
I'm really excited about this game. I think about the game at the Etihad last year, and I don't mean the one Romani's sent off, because I think the minute that sending off happens, it sort of kills the game. It's
but even that one,
different.
The first 20 of that, though, we're having a go.
Yeah,
Solar has a load of chances that he should probably do better with, and the Solar of now probably puts them away. So,
but in terms of the actual spectacle, I know as Liverpool fans, we'll not be thinking about that on the day. We'll be thinking about how our team's going to win and how they're playing on the day. But you know that when you watch we were at the game at the Etihad last season, and it was just end to end to end. Watching it back on TV was mad, the speed of it. So I think it should be a brilliant game. There should be loads of goals. I think Liverpool should be confident going into it. I think if Man City are going to get beaten, or this unbeaten run is going to come to an end, I think it's going to be us that does it. They don't have a great record at Anfield. I'm struggling to think of a time that I've saw them beat us at Anfield.
I've seen them. Anelka scored for them and they beat us. That's going back quite a while.
Yeah.
They have got a poor record. I can't remember the year that when they last won. Probably should have looked that up. So
yeah, this is the best City team that has come to Anfield probably ever. It could be. It's certainly the most dangerous, and but I'm quietly confident. I think we should be. I think we should be, just the way Liverpool have been playing. Despite the fact that we've lost Coutinho, I think the Virgil van Dijk debut should give us a lot of hope at the back, even the way he commands, and then going forward, we know what we can do going forward. There was talk of Mane being out of form and all this, and then he goes and does that against Burnley, which is only a week and a half ago. It doesn't feel like it. Only a week and a half ago. So, yeah, I think it's a good time to play them, and especially the fact that they played in midweek, didn't rest many players, as you said. Yeah, I think
17 games unbeaten as well for Liverpool, the best run under Jurgen Klopp since he's been here. There's an interview with Joe Gomez in the Mirror today, an exclusive interview, and I like his vibe, I like his style, the things he's coming out with about this game. Good quotes. He said, I don't think there's anyone here who thinks that we can't beat them. Talking about City, he says they're doing massive things this season and their run of unbeaten games shows how good they are, but I don't feel anyone is superior to us when they come here to Anfield. It will be a battle, of course, because they are a top side, but we have confidence in ourselves that we can do it. We've got a lot to play for, and it's very important for us to finish in the top four, especially after the taste of the Champions League we've had this season. All saying all the right things there, big Joey Gomez. Also, just before we go to the actual papers, we'll do it in this section because we're talking about Liverpool, is I was interested in this piece where Joe Gomez is talking about, you know, why he come to Liverpool. I mean, he's still only 20, which sort of goes, which is mad. You know what I mean? Mad. Like, he's knocking around, like, playing all the time, and you know, getting a lot of plaudits for his play this season, and rightly so. He's still only 20. But he talks about why he chose Liverpool and why he came here. And he says, coming here to Liverpool was the right move for me. With their history of fielding young players, it was the place to be, and they've not let me down. I can't give enough thanks to the manager or club. They've been fantastic. Now, that's interesting, that, because Liverpool have got a reputation of playing young players. They've also got a reputation, as we said earlier, of being fair to players. I mean, there's lots of Oxlade-Chamberlain interviews kicking around today. He's had a big sit-down with all the written press. He talks there as well about why he chose Liverpool over Chelsea, because he wanted to work with Klopp. He wanted to be in this side. He was interested by Liverpool over Chelsea. So I think, you know, there's been lots of doom and gloom this week, lots of, you know, negativity around the Coutinho thing, but actually there's lots to be positive about. It's Friday, let's smile.
There's loads to be. That's a common theme, by the way. That's been a common theme in some of the players that we've signed. You look at Van Dijk. He could be at Man City. He could be facing us this weekend, or Chelsea. He could be at Man City this weekend. 4 months away from probably winning the Premier League, have a medal in his back pocket. But he's behind this project that Klopp project. I don't like saying that, but you know, that's but that's what they call it, and you know, he's behind what Klopp's trying to do and what he's trying to instill within this club. And Oxlade-Chamberlain as well, as you've seen, kited. There was talk that Barcelona were looking at him, but no, he wanted to come to Liverpool. So yeah, on that side of things, on Joe Gomez, like, I absolutely love him. There's, you know, he's made a couple of mistakes this season, but that's going to happen, and it's how he learns from that now. But really, this is his first full you'd say this is his first full season in the Premier League, really, because when he came in, he looked good at the start, but then obviously the injuries took their toll. And when it was interesting when Jurgen Klopp came in to Liverpool. Whenever he first walked into the club, one of the things he said was he knew of Joe Gomez and he liked him, and that was even before coming here. So for a young player at that age to have caught Jurgen Klopp's attention even before he came to the club, just that shows you just how big of a talent and how much potential he had then, and he's starting to show it. I just wouldn't be surprised to see next season Joe Gomez slotting in beside Van Dijk. And how excited will he be to learn from Van Dijk as well?
He talks about that as well. He says he's not intimidated by Van Dijk coming in, and that he's looking forward to playing with him and learning from him, which is, again, all the right things. And a good example of Liverpool's decent recruitment. I mean, we've got some decent players still at the club, obviously. Plenty of players there that can be the downfall of Manchester City. So as I say, let's be positive about it. Let's go into Sunday thinking that we can blow these away. Next up, the papers. All right then, the newspapers, just a couple of things to talk about today that have caught my eye. The big one on the back of all the newspapers today is this: United's 124 million hijack. Arsenal fan Sam behind the camera is shaking his head. Basically what's happened here, if you've somehow missed this, is that Manchester United and Manchester City are going head to head over Alexis Sanchez. It seems that he is determined to leave Arsenal, and it seems that both these clubs are now determined to buy him, although City have been basically saying it's too expensive, it's too much to pay £35 million for a lad who can leave free in the summer. The Mancs, as in Man United, have now come in apparently, and they're prepared to pay that. They're prepared to pay a £15 million signing-on fee as well, and they're prepared to pay Alexis Sanchez, a 29-year-old football player, £400,000 a week. And that is a disgraceful amount of money for that lad who keeps commenting in the YouTube comments and says that I can't talk about socialism when I'm talking about big figures. Well, I can, mate, and I support the food banks, all right. And there's not much I can do about that, is there? Do you want me to ring up Mourinho and tell him not to bid, lad? Anyway, okay. So, yeah, that's mad, isn't it? Because you know why it's mad? It's mad when two big clubs go head-to-head like that, because there's going to be a set of fans pissed off here, and not just Sam behind the camera. Do you know what I mean?
I honestly think, though, I think United are being smart about this in terms of they probably know that City just about have Sanchez wrapped up, or have him, and whether they don't get him this month, he'll wait until the end of the season and then they'll go in. And if they do this, surely if City do want him, because they've had the injury to Gabriel Jesus, that it'll put the price up for City, first of all. And I think also it sort of epitomised, do you not think so?
It might put the price up, but what I mean is, if City end up still signing him, and you're a United fan, you're going to be like, well, what the fuck was all that about? I wanted to sign him.
But that epitomises United's transfer strategy over the past few years, because if you look at it,
but they normally get the man though, don't they?
They do, but they don't seem to. There doesn't seem to be any sort of coherence in what they. Matic aside, I could see why they brought in Matic, but you think of players like Mkhitaryan and like even Pogba to a certain extent, it's just like go and throw money at someone that we can bring in, and then you don't really know what they're about then. And I just don't know. This just seems like, well, a little bit desperate because we've not heard Sanchez. We've not, they weren't interested in Sanchez at the start of last season, or the start of this season. Sorry, it's just a weird one. I still think he'll end up at City. I think. We see people saying, oh, why don't Liverpool go in and just, they've got all this money going through 35 million or 40 million at Sanchez, but there's something there where City were interested last summer, they're still interested now. If they don't get him this summer, in this window, I reckon it'll be the summertime.
It is Mourinho's thing to buy proven talent as well. It's something he does. He doesn't really seem to develop players too much. And so go and pay and top whack for a 29-year-old who's proven in the Premier League is very Mourinho. So we'll see what happens. But as I say, I just think it's quite mad to go so large on it, and it's all over the papers, so it's clearly come from a decent source. I just think maybe, there's going to be some set of fans there going, well, what's happened there? You don't want to lose out on a big player to your rival. Sam, what do you make of it all, lads? Where would you prefer he went, City or United? City, say Sam.
If you're the footballer, if you're Sanchez, who would you rather play for? Would you rather play for Guardiola's Man City, or would you rather play for Mourinho's Man United? It's an easy one for me.
He's just worried about the money, this lad.
I don't know.
He is. You're just worried about the money. Throw some towards the food banks, you prick. Okay, so in a few papers today, including the Mirror, there's more on Thomas Lemar. It seems like every day, like daily Thomas Lemar. There's today's daily Thomas Lemar. Monaco coach Leonardo Jardim has admitted the club could get an offer they can't refuse for their France attacker, Thomas Lemar. They turned down £90 million bids from Arsenal and Liverpool last year. Not sure that's true. Things happen that even a club like Monaco cannot refuse. You keep doing this. This is a come and get me play.
It is. I've been thinking about this, right? That's 2 or 3 things now. Yeah. Either the chairman or the manager have come out and said, and it's a completely different change. It's a completely different stance to what it was in the summertime, whenever both Liverpool and Arsenal were desperate to get him and couldn't get him. I think this is just a guess, by the way. This is, if Liverpool really wanted him, they'd be in negotiations with him now because they've just sold Coutinho. I think they're trying to get Keita, and I think we've heard talk about a mystery player. I honestly believe they're trying to work on something that they don't believe, or they're not sure that they'll be able to get done. And it's just me speculating, by the way. They're not sure that they'll get this one done, but if they don't get this one done, then they'll go for Lemar. Because I think if they really wanted Lemar, if Lemar was the top target this transfer window, all these pleas are literally Monaco saying, come and have him. Oh, there's a drop in price. It's a 20 million drop in price. If they really wanted him, they'd be in there. They'd be negotiating now.
The reason could be, of course, that the reason why Monaco are perhaps being so public on it is that Lemar has indicated that he's interested in Liverpool as well. So if it's one of those situations like you had with Van Dijk, where he's literally not interested in anything else now, he's like, I want to play for Liverpool. Liverpool know that, so they're just sort of maybe knocking around going, well, we don't have to pay 90 for him here, because we've got him. The player wants to come. We can get the price down here, and so maybe Monaco are putting that out there to say, anyone else want to come in? We'll accept offers.
A bit more,
and to get a bit more going, because there was an indication in one of the other papers as well that Liverpool might wait till the summer for Lemar. They're not desperate to do it now. Again, that says to me, that there's a bit of a standoff between the two clubs, maybe that they're haggling over price or something like that. What is clear is that there is interest from Liverpool. What is clear is that there's interest from the player, and what is clear now is that Monaco, fairly open to selling. So we'll see. I mean, what are we on today? 12th of January. Plenty of time left in the window for loads and loads of things to happen, and that's why we're doing podcasts all the time called The Gutter, talking about the transfer speculation. Seamless link there. I want to throw this one at you.
I've just fucking seen it on the... Excuse my swearing. I've just seen this.
This has nothing to do with Liverpool Football Club.
He's done this for the needle.
Craig Hannan follows, he mentioned it earlier in the video, he follows Northern Ireland. He's from Northern Ireland, he's from Belfast, that's sound. He's a big culture. Anram boy. But he follows his team, and that's good, and I take my hat off to him. And he did go to the big. You went to the big qualifier, didn't you? Which you
did.
Unfortunately, you missed out on the World Cup there. So here you go. I wonder what you make of this. Look at this one, viewers. The referee, whose penalty decision cost Northern Ireland a place at the World Cup, has said he made a mistake. I don't like. Someone keeps laughing at all my pronunciations. You're definitely going to laugh this time because I haven't got a clue how to say this. Ovidio Heitagen. Or something, pointed to the spot after deeming Corey Evans to have handled the ball during the first leg of the playoff with Switzerland in November. It was awful, you've surely seen it. It was never ever a pen. Ricardo Rodriguez's penalty was the only goal over the 2 legs, and Heitagen has admitted he got it wrong. He said, it was a mistake and a painful moment for me.
You and I both laughed. I think... that in that first game, Northern Ireland were crap. So when we were coming out and everyone was talking about the penalty decision, there was that, but it was also disappointment in their performance. I'd be far more annoyed if they'd been battered down the hatches and they'd been brilliant and it'd been a brilliant performance, but they'd been denied by something. It's just one of them. Like, we had a second chance in the second leg to get a goal, we didn't do it, and they're not in it. To be honest, I don't think I'd have lasted too long in Moscow. Like, have you seen them? Lads in gloves and everything. Like, I'd have had to do boxing for the next 6 months to go, and then I think my girlfriend would have Yeah, well, yeah, no, I don't even know how I would explain 2 weeks in Russia with all my mates. So.
I mean, look, we don't want to generalise about Russia. I'm sure there's some nice places and some nice people, but when you've got politicians literally saying at times, "It's sound if everyone has a fight at the match," there's got to be a few worries, hasn't there? So yeah, maybe it's a good thing that you're not going, mate. You know what I mean?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, you need to do a bit more benching there, lad. Get some tips off Ian Ryan. Okay, today on the Anfield Wrap then, the team talk is coming out. That is where we watch Jurgen Klopp's press conference ahead of the City game and then have a chat about what he said and about the game in general. That will be out. Our City Talk show, our radio show that we do weekly, that will be out later as a free podcast as well. AFQ is out, the mad one where people on Twitter ask us whatever they like and we answer them. And Fantasy Football, if you're interested in that, the show where the lads have weird teams and like points and that. I'm not involved.
Your dad there.
It's crap. Like, I just think it's, come on, I mean, look,
crap.
I'm
not the podcast.
No, but I mean the idea of fantasy footy, like, I've gone past it now. It's not for me. The idea that you're at the match and going, oh, well, he scored for Man United and I've got him in my team, 6 points. Shut up. Behave yourself. Okay, what else? Oh yeah, we're going to Norway and Sweden. We've mentioned this before, but we've got some deets for you now. We're going to Sweden, Stockholm on the 9th of February, and we're going to Norway, Oslo on the 11th. And
yes.
So what do you do? How do you get involved? How can you get in there if you want to come?
Yeah, tickets are free. Just visit theanfieldwrap.com/tall live. All the information on how you get tickets to go is on there. It's in partnership with RedsBet, which is it's a betting company which gives 50% of its net profits back to Liverpool supporters initiatives. So it's great in that way. And all you have to do is sign up to them. You don't have to deposit any money. Don't have to do anything else. All you do is sign up to them. And then there's an email on that page. You email your username, and then you get into the gig free. So yeah, we'll be in Stockholm on the Friday night. Then on the Sunday we're in Oslo. We'll be watching the Southampton-Liverpool game, doing a live post-match show on there, then all the usual tour antics really. So
and you get a month's free tour, don't you?
You do, yeah. You get a month. Everyone that attends gets 1 month free subscription to the Anfield Wrap, which is nice as well. So it doesn't cost anything. It'll be a laugh. It's limited capacity. I think there's about only 150 in each venue. So tickets will go really quickly, so we'll get onto that. So it's www.theanfieldwrap.com/tall live.
And the live events are a laugh.
They are.
I mean, look, I remember the very first one we did in Bray in Ireland, and I was like, what? So like, we do a podcast and we're going to do it on stage, and I just say it felt a bit weird to me, but it's worked. And honestly, every single one we've done, we've had a laugh. Everyone's told us that they've enjoyed it. We get people up on stage, do little quizzes, have a laugh, have a drink, sing Liverpool songs, all that kind of stuff. It's just like-minded people in the room having a laugh and a bevy. It's good.
It's certainly not boring football chat the whole night. No, it's a bit of footy chat. It's a laugh with it. It's loads of audience interaction as well. So yeah, if you're in Stockholm or Oslo or the surrounding areas, or you want to travel from afar to go to it, get on that.
Get involved, the Anfield Wrap away. Yeah, so let's beat City this weekend. Bring your A game to Anfield if you're coming, and we'll see you next week on Talking Reds.